So I want to build an awesome castle with walls, multiple towers, archery ranges, as well as enough space for a nice keep. And to do that, I'll need thousands of blocks, some easy to obtain, and some, it turns out, are a bit more tricky. The only problem is I don't have anything at all, so let's get started. Now the first essential part of any new Minecraft world is gearing up, and that means at least a full set of iron armor as well as tools, so let's get this show on the road. I craft my first tools in a nearby village and steal all their food, and now that I won't starve to death, let's go mine some iron. Alright, so I got all my tools and gear, so let's find a place for the base. Now picking the correct base location is crucial for the aesthetics, and I think that the top of this mountain will do nicely, since it's a great defensive position and it sort of also serves to protect the village. So anyway, I set up a few pillars just so I know whether the base will even fit before I eventually start the building. And speaking of building, we need some resources first. Now since there's nothing else that allows me to procrastinate any further, I'll have to start gathering all the resources. And to do this, I've made a nice Excel sheet showing all the different types of blocks that I need before I can even start crafting. And as you can see, there's a lot of them. So let's knock out some of the easy and boring ones, and those are cobblestone, diorite and andesite, so let's go. As I check off the first things, the next thing on the list is the oak and spruce wood. So I head over to the forest and start chopping. With the deforesting done, I decide to build my wheat farm early on in the process so that I don't have to sit around and wait for it to grow later on. I also still need to get myself some calcite, so I head back down into this giant cave and run around like a headless chicken until I eventually find an amethyst geode. Luckily for me, I find some diamonds along the way, so I can't really complain. Now on the way up, I pick up some iron, craft myself a diamond pickaxe and gather some wool for the castle flag. With these steps now completed, it's time to find myself a lush cave so that I can get some moss. And this turns out to lead me on a bit of a journey. Now there's conflicting information on the internet about how you actually find the lush cave. Some say they can generate under any type of terrain. Some say it has an increased chance under humid terrain like a jungle. Now one thing that's certain is that there's a lush cave beneath any azalea tree that you can find in your world. And I do know for certain that it can spawn under an old growth taiga, since I've found it there in other worlds. Now I already know where to find an old taiga, since back when I was cutting down the trees, I saw some large spruce trees in the distance, and it turns out though that it's really tiny and there's no azalea trees anywhere to be found. I still need the moss however, so I carry on with my journey, and the first stop is a nearby village where I pick up some supplies. I do that by stealing all their food, and that means I can check off another box. Anyways, I carry on traveling east and head through an old growth birch forest. I didn't even know these existed before today, but I carry on east and I run into this dark forest and later on a taiga biome, and after scouring it for a while, I come up empty-handed. I did end up finding this cool location though, and maybe I'll use it in the future if I remember where it is. But anyways, I decide to track back a bit just to make sure I didn't miss anything in the dark forest. I then head back onto a plains biome, and a short while later, while traveling west, I arrive at this beautiful ice spikes biome. I travel a bit back towards my village afterwards, but since I'm not done yet, I travel across the ocean and through a snowy taiga where I come across a frozen lake and do some ice boating. You guys should definitely do that, as it's a super fun way to travel around since it's very fast. As you can see, my computer can barely keep up. Eventually though, after about an hour, I finally find the tiniest lush cave ever, just sitting in the ground. And even though it's small, I'm just happy to have found one after all this time. Anyways, I pick up the moss that I set out to get, so I can finally head back now. And that's also the last resource that I needed, so I can finally start crafting. Now I spent an hour crafting, smelting and getting the last few things in order, but that's not really that exciting to either show in depth or explain. But one thing you don't see every day is a crafting montage, so let's go. Now ladies and gentlemen, the resources are gathered, the items are crafted and the chests are full. There's only one thing left to do. Let's build a castle.